Okay, what we have here is my MTD Yard Machines snowblower. It was a 5 horsepower, still is 22-inch, 2-stage MTD Yard Machine snowblower that I bought when I was 18. This thing's got some age on it now. It's about, I guess, over 15 years old or something like that. Anyway, the machine is very solid. It's definitely a little bit thicker gauge steel than what you could buy today. It's definitely a pretty heavy-duty machine for what it is. Unfortunately, it came with this 5 horsepower Tecumseh engine on this snowblower, and I'm not sure what they were thinking about putting a 5 horsepower engine on this snowblower, because it's definitely underpowered. The engine works great. There was no real problem with the engine other than the fact that it was underpowered. It's got an adjustable carburetor with the set screw on the bottom that you could open and close the carburetor to start it up real quick versus priming the hell out of it. So engine's pretty good. I mean, it works. It's just not powerful enough to actually push out the slushy snow and everything else like that. So I decided to upgrade the engine, and we put on a new Harbor Freight 6.5 horsepower Lifan or Greyhound engine, whatever you want to call it. Engine is unbelievably more powerful than what was originally there. This machine is an absolute beast. We got about 7 to 8 inches of snow the other night and ran home to test it out, and it was throwing snow, I don't know, farther than any other snowblower I've ever used before. And I've used some 9 horsepower, 10 horsepower MTDs and thought they were awesome, but this is definitely beating it out. Plus it's a 6.5 horsepower on only 22 inches, which is unbelievable. One major issue that I ran into in swapping this engine out, as you can see, I got the cover off of it here, and I've got I went and bought some pulleys. You could get pulleys pretty easily at Granger. They stock them. Luckily the local one here in Teterboro had the pulleys in stock. That is a basically what we're using there is 3-inch pulleys on one shaft, and using the original belts, no problems matching up the belts. I got it to work, no problem. On this tensioner here, if you could see it, I did not use a spring. I just basically I removed the original screw here that was kind of like a pivoting screw. Took that out and just replaced it with washers and a lock washer, and got that on there, tensioning up the belt so that way it's nice and on here. So that's working pretty good. And as you can see here, I've got a cast pulley here, 3-inch, with a, I guess, extended collar. That in this case, only that little collar is actually sitting on the shaft, and the main part of the pulley is not. I rigged it up here with some washers and nuts and bolts, or nuts or bolts, whatever the hell they're called, where the key is extending out past that and onto the nut. But in essence, this part of the pulley is sitting on nothing. You know, it might be touching the washers slightly, but it's definitely not the way it should be. My father-in-law is going to be machining up a shaft extender, 3/4 inch shaft out of 3/4 inch rolled steel, and he's going to thread it, put a hole through the middle of it, threaded, and we're also going to put, he's going to cut a keyway into it so that way I can get new key stock and put it in there and kind of make it up as good as possible to extend that shaft, because this engine only comes with a 2¼ inch shaft. Now I could have mounted the engine a little bit further up you know, put new holes on the deck here, but I didn't really want to do that. And I got it to work this way anyway, and it was blowing snow like crazy. So it seems like it's doing a good job the way it was, and I didn't have to go and do that. And I think what I'll run into is if you move it up too far on these machines, this front pulley will not line up. You may have a problem with that. So the real problem with this engine, not only that it's 5 horsepower, but first off, the shaft here is a little bit longer than 2 1/4 inches, so that caused a problem. Not only that, but I had the luck of getting one of these 5 horsepower Tecumseh engines that actually has not one, but 2 shafts. And not only to complicate that, but to complicate it just a little bit further, they spin in opposite directions. Very, very annoying. When I've seen other videos of people swapping out these engines, it seemed like they had a little bit of an easier time than I did. And in essence, these double spinning pulleys made life a little difficult, and it's given me a little bit more work because now my forwards are reverse. So in essence, I have 5 reverse speeds, which I obviously don't need, and I have 2 forward speeds. And because I'm using a 3-inch pulley to drive the wheels versus, I think this is a 2-inch pulley, my number 1 in reverse is actually pretty good, and number 2 is going to be pretty quick. So once I figure out how to flop over the gears on that, I'll be able to get 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 forward and revert it back to the way it was. But I actually have to flip the gearbox on the underside, and I really didn't have time to play around with that. So that's my swap out. Hopefully I'll get you some video of it actually blowing some snow. But if anybody has any question whether or not this 6.5 horsepower engine is enough power to power a snowblower, rest assured it is plenty powerful. It starts right up, and it's pretty good. For the price, you can't beat it, and you could get a Harbor Freight warranty on it for 2 years if you have any concerns. That's my summary here. Hopefully I'll get you some video of it actually blowing snow, and we'll see you next time.